Yeah, I'm Dennis Muren here with you.
I wanted to get your thoughts since you have been around from the beginning. We're seeing more and more real time impacting, and again connecting to what you just said about the director not being able to see it. What impact do you feel real time visuals, even the use of video game engine technology, from previs to actual effects? How do you see that impacting things moving forward?
I think there's a big plus and a big minus to being able to make all the decisions on the set. The plus is obvious. I can see the comp there, and the game engines are working terrific, and I can the angle's better over here, and la-di-da-da and all that. That's a big deal. If you're making a game, great. If you're doing a reality, watch out, because it still isn't real. That you're looking at a TV set, you're looking at a simplified version, even though it may be full res on the screen in the comp. It may have all the atmosphere you think is in there. When it's all done, you may look at it on the big screen and it just looks incomplete. It's like the atmosphere is all moving at the same rate or something. I mean, what I'm getting at is there's so much complexity in nature that you're used to in most movies. When you see movies made, that when you cut to the effect shot, you don't want it to look sparse. You don't want to look like it's missing something, and it's too hard for us to even figure out what it is because nature's so complicated. So I just kind of, in a back to nature kind of approach. I think there's a reason why that's happening with a lot of these directors. And then you put all the energy into what is part of the story, which is what's happening. Like the creature or the effect you can't get practically or whatever. And that's where your heart and soul goes, not to try to recreate to 80% something that you could have just done, for real.
At the same time that you guys have been pushing visual effects over the decades, there has been the growth of gaming from Pong to what they can do today with these massive games. How have you seen that influence, and do the two industries kind of help each other, propel each other forward?
Yeah, they're helping each other very much. We're using a lot of game technology on set now to do stuff, and the games are always looking at the films for the imagery on films, at least for the reality, to try to get to that level because it's so exciting and so fulfilling when you see that something that looks really real. So I think we're working all together well. I think our goals are different, and both are serious problems. Some of the game industry's problem is a lot harder because it's got to be real time and it could be in any direction, and that's like a real tough problem.
It's what the VR people are trying to figure out, right?
Yeah, that's and then it's I don't know. Yeah, it's tough, but it's getting better. I mean, look at the money, the billions of dollars being spent on it right now, on this, and I think it's got a huge future beyond entertainment. For VR, for like teaching and calming people in operations and surgeries or who knows what, and traveling or who knows what it's going to be. It's a lot of future.
Yeah, there's actually was a panel here talking about how VR is helping people cope with all kinds of things, including dementia.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's across the board.
Year?
Yeah, this year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
So the other area that kind of has a crossover I want to get your thoughts on is performance capture. We're seeing that really explode and being used more and more. And what are your thoughts about how that's grown and the role it plays today?
I think motion capture, performance capture is just like a no-brainer. I mean, people, if you're doing a human shape sort of thing, I'm not quite as convinced there is a place for it if it's less human. But it makes sense because humans are so complicated, and you don't want 1 or 5 or 10 animators to try to animate, one character. We had enough trouble back in the Casper days doing it with a very simple shape. But you get into a tough human performance, you want a mocap thing. The actor's got all that sensibility in him. That's why he's an actor. He's expressing through his face. He already knows this. It's not even expression. He knows why to use the expression, when to use it, how much, body motion, all. And then you get the guys that have been doing a lot of ape stuff or creature stuff that are now can interpret how they think those characters should look or move. Then they're way ahead even of a lot of animators because the animators can't feel it as much. There's too much separation. There's too much separation between the feelings they're getting, then having to put it into the puppet, on a CRT and with a mouse and all that sort of. So the mocap just makes total sense for improv. I think when you get into other types of shapes and creatures, I think it's an easy fix or an easy solution that may not go anywhere and certainly is not accurate. You put a different sort of shape thing, the whole weight's going to be different, and it might look like a person pretending he's something else. So there's no easy answer for anything.
Back in the early days, you guys had to really get creative in order to bring movie magic to the screen.
Yeah.
Having all this processing power and all this technology today, creatively, how do you guys push things forward? Like, what are the challenges today?
Well, a lot of the challenges, I think, it's sort of going in the wrong places. They're like, how much fur can we have, and can we get the lighting to copy exactly what's on the set, even though on the set the cameraman would have relit everything anyway. You want to take that opportunity to do it. Those things are efficiency things, and ways actually to maybe make things look in some cases a lot better. But I think people need to chase the other stuff, not so much the technical. Need to chase the emotion. Like, how do you get the emotion? Is the design right? If you're designing a character, what's it like smiling? What's it like frowning? What's it like slightly frowned? What's it like where you can't tell, is it curious? Or is it like getting a sort of a little happy reaction to it? Just look at a human face. Look at anybody being interviewed and look all the expressions going on in their face. You talk to somebody for like 10 seconds and you know that person. And you can pretty much tell when they're telling the truth, when they're lying, how they're feeling about stuff. To try to put that into a package and say, now we know how to animate. Now we know how to do a face. No way. It's much more complicated, and I think that's where we're trying at ILM, and I think it's important that we all try to get into that level of what you could say is hyper-realism, but it's just realism. As the work is getting more demanding, we need to study it. We need to do it for something that can't be quantified. You can quantify sort of how many hairs you want. You can quantify if this date is right. You can quantify that. Emotion you can't quantify. And I think we need to get into this understanding of how emotions are made. Not chemically in your mind. I mean, how you react to when you look at that picture over there, or react to that person. And react to how that person's reacting to what you said. It's super subtle. But it goes on all the time in actors. And it goes on all the time in the real world. But it's not taught anywhere. Most people probably wouldn't even understand what I'm saying. I don't even know if I do. But I know it's missing. And I know when I see it,
right,
that it is, and when I see it in actors, and when I see it in directing, and I see it in writing and camera work and all that, it's there. And I think it's very fleeting, but it's magical when it happens.
We've seen, including the latest Blade Runner and Star Wars, of bringing actors back from beyond or making them young again. I mean, How are things progressing there to get past the issues you just talked about of making them look like they're real?
Yeah, there's some good stuff going on. Yeah.
I mean, how close are we? Like, you remember back in the day when actors were afraid that they were going to be replaced by digital characters?
Right. Yeah. Right. Marlon Brando had his body scanned too. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but I think that we're going to be better at making people looking younger and older and more affordable. Old is sort of easier, but not really, because if you build the makeup off their faces, then that may not be as good as if they look emaciated when they're older. You can't do that if you've got those shapes. So anyway, I can't talk too much about it right now because we're working on something.
Okay. Well, I wanted to conclude by asking you what excites you about the future when it comes to visual effects.
Oh, it's always what it has been before, something I haven't seen, that I feel. And there's some stuff going on right now that I can't talk about that we're doing at ILM that's really super exciting about it. And I'm not being coy about it. We just can't talk about this stuff.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure how it's all going to play out either. But I want to see an effort put in to take something to a level. And again, this is not data, but take something to an emotional level. where I'm feeling something that I saw the same subject in 3 other movies, the same idea in 3 other movies, that didn't move me, and in this film it did. What is different about this moment in this film? And I think that's what all directors and studio heads, everybody want. They want everything to be like that. Music, but you can't figure out what it is. But I think that's what I see. When I see that, I can sort of see there's a kindred soul behind that. It's usually the director. But I think it ought to go down more into the crew. He's the director, the cameraman contributes, the writer contributes, the actors certainly contribute. And so much of the work now in effects is important, super important in the film, that we need to understand that and go for the emotion of the shot. And to be part of that core creative team, not just the expediters of the imagery, not just finishing the imagery, but finishing it with the level of total creativity, based on what everybody else wants, not just taking it over, but what's appropriate for the film.
And I also wanted to get your thoughts on what's it like, having done Star Wars way back in the day with the holographs, and now having mixed and augmented reality, literally bring those characters from Star Wars to life through ILM Lab.
I know it's pretty crazy to see what's going on in real time, but it's been 40 years, right? It makes sense. Come on, I still don't have a hovercraft outside, and it's clunky. And where are these holograms anyway? They're fake holograms. So anyway, but it's pretty neat to see that.